who's thirsty? Do you guys want to get started? Start chit-chatting?
Yep.
So there's just a couple of us on here. We're going to be super cash about this. Welcome to my home. Thank you for having me into yours. I appreciate it. This is a fun little program. We're focusing on good, fun cocktails for Mother's Day, which you guys know is right around the corner. And these are items that you can get at your Montgomery County local liquor stores. And they actually have a coupon, which you probably saw when you registered. They had it down at the bottom of the registration. So save a couple bucks on Chandon and Belvedere. But the whole goal of today is really just to do something a little fun. We're all stuck inside and have a drink together. So if you have any questions, this is, like I said, there's what, 10 of us on here. Reach out, raise your hand, shoot a note to Megan. I can't see chat, or you can just unmute yourself and say, hey, how are you doing? Or maybe Megan can do that. I don't know if you can do that. So I'm really excited. Thank you for coming. We're going to talk about two things today, Chandon and Belvedere. So I'm going to give you the brief Cliff's Notes history version of these two super cool brands. Chandon is in the 1950s, a guy named Robert Jean de Vogue, who was the president and CEO of Moet and Chandon in France, realized that what they really needed to start exporting wasn't champagne. It was savoir-faire. It was that know-how, the ability to do something well. And he knew that they were making good wine in America, and he wanted to come over here. So he partnered up with a guy named John Wright, who was based in California. And the two of them started scoping out some land in the early 1970s and settled down in Napa, which of course was the place to grow it in the Russian River Valley. And they planted champagne varietals. Now they can't make champagne because part of champagne is that it has to come from Champagne, France. But they could make wine just as delicious. And so that's really where they started. And that's the kind of basic brand history of Chandon, right? It's all of the experience, the hundreds of years of know-how, the attention to detail, the care, the understanding what it means to make a great bottle of bubbles. And then they just did it in America. And so that's really one of the reasons why I love these. We also have a new mother who is the head winemaker, Pauline Lott. She's only, she had her baby, because I believe she's still currently on maternity leave, to be honest. But we had a nice little message from her, a little Mother's Day from a new mother, which was very nice to hear. And she just makes some great sparkling wine. So we can talk about those a little bit more if you want to. And then Belvedere. So Belvedere's got a great history as well. There is quite a bit of literature to suggest that Poland was actually the birthplace of vodka. Now, everyone in the vodka belt, and what they call the Rye Belt, which is Russia, Ukraine, Latvia, that whole old Eastern Bloc, claims a little bit of that piece of vodka history. But in Poland, they've been doing it for a long time. And the distillery, Polmozodrów, has been producing vodka for centuries, which means it survived multiple world wars. It survived communism. It survived like no business ever has. And part of that is because of the way they make their vodka. Poland's super particular about their vodka. It has to be made in Poland. You have to have a water from Poland, and it can only have the spirit and water. That's it. So just like champagne has its own region and its own rules, so does vodka, and so does Poland. They're very strict about it. And so this is, they like to say, it's nothing but Polish character, rye, and water. That's it. So really simple, really clean, really easy drinking product. I love these things. And I was actually happy to find this bottle because I thought I was out of vodka. We've all been on quarantine for a while. So my Belvedere went quick. But do you guys want to make a cocktail? Or does anyone have any questions about Chandon or about Belvedere?
I actually have a question about you. What's your background?
What's my background? So,
how are you connected to ABS and Montgomery County and all that?
Okay, fair question. My name is Hamilton Gilberg, and I am the market manager for Moet Hennessy brands in the state of Maryland.
Got it.
My background is from restaurants. I graduated from culinary school in New York, the CIA, and then I worked in restaurants for a long time, and then I started in alcohol sales. And so now I've been doing that for about 15 years, and I love it. I get to talk about booze all day, which is my favorite thing to talk about. And so that's how I ended up here. And I ended up working with the ABS stores because of Melissa Davis and Emily DeTita, who – hi, Melissa. Melissa's waving. Who are just fantastic to work with. And, yeah, so that's how we ended up here. Good question.
Awesome.
I'm so flattered. Most people just want to know about the booze.
Well, I want to know about that too, but yeah.
Okay. Well, do you guys have any questions about me? I'm gonna scroll through and see who else is in here. All right. Do you guys have any other questions? I just found out a friend of mine went to CIA. So yeah, you guys ready to make a cocktail? Good. All right. Cool. So I'm gonna do 2 cocktails. The first one is a Belvedere cocktail, and the second one is just a perfect Mother's Day easy drinking cocktail. All right. So we're gonna start off. I'm gonna put this back in the cooler for a second. We are going to make a Polish 75. Now I'm sure everyone's heard of the famous champagne cocktail called a French 75, and it's called the French 75 because during World War I, there was an officers' club. And it was a cocktail made for one of the officers who had a sip, and he said it hit so hard it was like the French 75 millimeter cannon. It's actually named after a piece of our artillery because it's such a powerful cocktail, right? But we're gonna make ours a little bit differently. There's a few ways to do it. I think I would say the most well-known recipe is actually gin and champagne. We're gonna do one with Belvedere, which is why we're calling it a Polish vodka. So I apologize. I had some slides for you, but you can tell I've had some technical issues. So we're gonna do it a little bit differently. First thing you need is your glass. I have these adorable Chandon glasses because I have a friend who hooked me up. But we're gonna make our cocktail in this. It's summertime. These are a perfect way to enjoy a cocktail anyway. Let me preface this by letting you all know. My many years in the restaurant industry, I am not a mixologist. I am just an enthusiast. So if you really want to get into the deep details of the proper way to make a drink, I'm not your guy. But if you want to leave here with a few ideas and an enthusiasm for what you're going to drink, that's what we're going to do today. So that's perfect, okay? So here's my cup. I like to, when I got a little extra ice, I'm going to just put some ice in here and chill the cup down. I'm right by my sink. You guys can't see that. But this will actually just help get the cup nice and cool so that when I'm ready to put the cocktail in there, it'll be good. All right, so this is my Boston shaker set. It consists of a plastic cup because I have 3 children and nothing can be glass in this house, and a shaker tin, right? These come in a bunch of different sizes. As long as they fit together, you're good. You won't make too much of a mess, but really simple. You can find them just about anywhere. I believe the stores in Montgomery County sell tools for you guys as well. But I'm going to put plenty of ice in here, and then we're going to start with the recipe. So the recipe here is 3/4 ounce simple syrup, 3/4 ounce sour. So I fresh squeezed some lemons just a little bit before I just got it in this bowl here. And then 2 ounces of Belvedere. We're going to always start with the non-alcohol ingredients. And that is because if you make a mistake and you have to throw it out, you don't want to throw out the expensive stuff. You want to throw out the cheap stuff. So I'm going to measure over here with my little measuring cup. This is called a jigger. And I'm going to do 3/4 ounce of simple syrup, just right in there. And 3/4 ounce of fresh squeezed lemon juice. There we go. And then 2 ounces of Belvedere. All right. Now, I didn't go into depth about how to open a bottle of champagne. We can talk about that really on the next one. But there's a couple of key things to remember when you're talking about bubbles. One is, this is a loaded gun. Take it seriously. When the cork leaves the bottle, it comes out at 60 miles an hour. That's 60 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour. This will bruise eyes, break your nose. Just be careful. So always, keep it covered once you release the cage. All right. Now that's ready. So we're going to take this. I'm going to just give it one quick little mix, pour it in here. One little slap on the bottom. Well, that might make it too hard, actually. These plastic cups get stuck. We'll take it. All right, let's see how we did. Oh, there we go. All right. And I left my strainer over here. Excuse me, guys. I'm going to step out of camera, but I'm nearby. Don't worry. Dump out the ice water. That's nice and cool now. And then we're just going to pour this in here. And keep the ice out of the cocktail.
So that's why you're using a strainer?
That's why I'm using just a little strainer, right? There's actually a proper strainer. This is a julep strainer. Totally not the right tool for this. But I told you guys I have kids. There's a strainer that fits this thing perfectly. We have no idea where it is. Yeah. But that's the world we all live in. So, and then you just top it up with Chandon. So they say about 2 ounces. I like to go just a touch more. I'm going to go about 3. And then a nice little peel of, forget that, let's use this guy. We're going to do a nice little twist.
Vegetable peelers work great for getting a piece of zest off of fruit, limes, lemons, grapefruit.
They do, unless you have a bad vegetable peeler, which I do.
Because your kids took the good one.
Of course. And so that's it. It's basic, it's clean, it's straightforward. This is a Polish 75.
Can you talk about why you chose a Chandon Brut instead of Rosé for this one?
Yes, I will. Part of it is because of what the next drink is. I think lends itself better to Rosé. But when you're dealing with a classic cocktail, you can adjust it however you'd like. I think that Brut works better because the fruit flavors that you're going to get here, you're going to get more stone fruit, you're going to get more acidity, more lemon that pairs well with the vodka and lemon juice that I just think it builds better to a cocktail when you use Brut for this particular one.
Great. Anyone have any questions about this drink? Is anyone currently drinking this other than Hamilton?
Is anyone currently drinking?
They're drinking.
Other than Hamilton? Good.
So we did want to ask Ham if you could send your deck or the cocktail recipes. I can send it as an attachment through Zoom for you.
Unfortunately, they are out in my office, and I will have to send them to Melissa. But Melissa can add them into the to the link at the end.
Great.
To the suite at the end. So we'll make sure that we send you guys a whole suite of Chandon cocktails. There'll be plenty to choose from. Awesome. All right. So I'm gonna put this Belvedere over here, and then I'm gonna put this over here. Now I'm gonna introduce you guys to the world's most simple, perfect Mother's Day cocktail. All right. Same thing. We're going to open a bottle of champagne, sparkling wine rather. So this is made exactly like champagne, which I think is an important distinction. Sparkling wine can be made in lots of different ways. Now, this isn't good or bad. I'm just giving you guys information about the way things work. Prosecco takes about 6 weeks to make. About 6 weeks. You grow your grapes, you ferment your grapes, you add CO2, and you send it out, right? There's a whole world of wonderful Proseccos out there, right? I'm not talking trash. This is made in the traditional champagne method. It takes 26 months to make a bottle of Chandon and get it to you. It takes time, and that time that you're putting into it refines the flavor, makes those bubbles really delicate and gentle, and I like that. I am a delicate flower myself, as you can probably tell. But so when you're talking about, how do champagnes and sparkling wines vary, time is a big piece of it. So when you find someone who has that kind of passion for it, like Pauline Lott does, it's just nice that they put so much energy into a bottle like this. All right. That one came out better. Right, so here's this cocktail. You ready? Guys, this is the easiest cocktail you will ever make, all right? We're gonna take one maraschino cherry, just one, right? You can make it sweeter if you want. All right. You're gonna twist my arm, we'll add one more, all right? There we go, we'll add one more maraschino cherry. Now, we're going to take, normally I would get out my jigger for this. I think measuring properly when you're making a cocktail is super important, but this one's a little simpler, so we're not gonna need to do that. So this is pomegranate juice. You get any pomegranate juice you like. I don't have a particular brand. All right, we're gonna add about 2 ounces. About 2 ounces, okay? Then we're gonna take the simple syrup, and we're gonna add about 1/4 ounce, because those maraschino cherries have some syrup on them already. All right. And then we're gonna take a nice cold bottle of Chandon Rosé. Happy Mother's Day. So it's just that simple. And that's one of the fun things about sparkling wine cocktails.
It's not full enough.
They don't.
Hamilton. So everyone.
This is well balanced. There's enough to make some more. There's enough to make some more. But what makes them fun is that they're so versatile, because sparkling wine can add so much to it, right? If you pick Brut, you can add lightness, right? You can add effervescence and acidity. If you wanted to do rosé, you add complexity and texture and strength. You can add different sparklings to make your cocktails really whatever you want them to be. And since we're all stuck at home with plenty of time to practice, there's no reason not to be making cocktails every day. I know that I try to make at least one cocktail for my wife a day, at least. Doesn't mean she always drinks it. Sometimes I have to drink it, but I always try to make it.
So before you put the bottle away, Hamilton, I wanted to show everyone something. Oh, so I should probably introduce the voice that keeps talking and chatting to everyone. My name is Megan Byers. I'm the Business Development Manager for the Mid-Atlantic. I work with Hamilton, and I do a lot of the marketing and sales programming for Chandon. So fun fact with Chandon, so they make several different variations. So we have the Brut and Rosé. There's also something called Sweet Star, and they have a Blanc de Pinot Noir. So if you turn the bottles around on the back, if you're kind of ever wondering, like, see where does it say the refreshing crisp?
So it says it right here, taste profile.
Yep.
Right where my thumb is.
Great. So on the back of every bottle, it gives you an idea of how sweet it is or how dry, and just like 3 words that kind of explain the flavor. So if you're ever wondering which one you should get, this is a great way to guide you to the perfect bottle of sparkling for any drinking occasion.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there's a million resources out there as well. Check out Chandon online. There's a lot of great resources on the website just to learn about it. Belvedere too. In fact, any of your favorite brands hopefully will have some great information for you to dig into, not just about that brand, but about how that brand reacts with the world and how that brand is part of their communities. And I can tell you that for Belvedere is part of the Polish community. It's made in Poland. The little blue stickers across the top are hand placed on by locals. It's just part of their history. It's been around for 100+ years. They've got 600 years of vodka making history. It's part of who they are. And in Chandon, when you're talking about Napa sparkling, you have to talk about Chandon. They helped make the business viable out there for everyone involved. And when they brought that know-how to America, they didn't keep it for themselves. They spread around that wealth of knowledge and made it so other people could try and experiment and grow, because that's what this is all about, is trying new things and, you know, getting excited about it. It's so hard to read a room.
So does anyone have any questions? Okay, so I have a question here. Any specific brunch foods you'd recommend, Hamilton, for a Brut or Rosé for anyone that might be crafting a brunch for Mother's Day this year?
Ooh, great question.
Great question.
Great question. All right, so breakfast foods are very personal, right? Everybody's favorites are what they grew up with and what they're so it's hard for me to say I think you should do this. However, with that said, a well-made quiche is really hard to beat. You get that rich breakfast, like, you know, you got the buttery crust and the rich creamy egg with the bright acidity of a Brut. For me, nails it. And if you're doing like quiche Lorraine, spinach and ham, nails it, right? Nails it. A little bit of saltiness with this. For something for rosé, you know, I'm gonna say something a little controversial here. I think the best brunch dish that goes with rosé is prime rib. I know. Or steak and eggs. Go steak and eggs if you really want it, but a beautiful piece of red meat and a glass of rosé sparkling is just about the best pairing in the world. It's close.
So we have another question, but I actually am going to add into what my perfect crafted Mother's Day brunch is with Chandon. I don't have to do any dishes. Feeling me, ladies? We've been doing a lot of dishes lately. Okay, so another question is, what are some other great foods to have with Chandon just every day? So weather's getting nice out, say you're gonna fire up the grill, what would be some great foods with that?
Oh man. So when you're doing food and wine pairing, there's kind of two thoughts, and it's comparing and contrasting, right? So what would I do with, say, Chandon Sweet Star? I would have a spicy noodle dish with Chandon Sweet Star. You know, maybe a pad thai and chicken, something along those lines. If you wanted to do Chandon rosé for just some other foods, I mean, anything on that grill, anything on the grill, you're gonna nail it. As far as Chandon Brut that's breakfast champagne for me. That's breakfast sparkling for me. Like it's easy to do. When it comes to foods, it's hard to miss, is what I mean with that. Don't pick anything sweeter than the wine that you're drinking, and you'll be fine.
That's a great tip, which is why desserts are not always the best thing to have with sparkling or champagne, unless you have a sweet
That's
champagne.
right.
You would need a sweet champagne. So that's a great tip in general.
Mm-hmm.
That also works for wine, for the wine drinkers on the Zoom. So nothing sweeter than your sparkling. Is that what you said?
Yeah, nothing sweeter than the wine. Yeah,
Nothing.
The food should be less sweet
Great.
than the wine. Yeah.
Fantastic. Popcorn
Yeah.
and Brut. That's a great one.
I like that. That's a great one. Yeah.
With some truffle.
Yeah. French fries, anything fried in champagne. How did I miss that? Anything fried in champagne.
So why is that? Because that's a very popular pairing.
Because champagne has bright acidity. And so, all right, I said complementing and contrasting. Fried chicken is the exact opposite of crisp, acidic champagne, right? It coats your mouth with that grease and the salty, you know, and then you've got champagne, which is bright and acid and cuts through it. And it's that contrast pairing. They're harder to get right, but when you get them right, they're next level. They're next level.
So does anyone have any questions about Belvedere?
You guys want to see something fun? You want to see something that nobody in Maryland knows about? Hey, Ed, can I show him? Can I show him the 176? It's too late now. I'm going to anyway. So this is new from Belvedere. It's called the Heritage 176, and it is not a vodka. It's actually a rye spirit. So it's 98% Belvedere vodka, but then they make 2% malted spirit, right? So think about the way you make scotch. You take your grains and you throw them on a malting floor and you heat them up with some water, and they sprout. It increases the sugar and changes how much alcohol you can get out of it when you distill it, or when you ferment it rather. And then so this has 2% rye, which Belvedere is 100% rye, always 100% rye, but it's 2% that isn't then filtered in the standard vodka style. So this actually doesn't qualify as a vodka, but it's pretty new to Maryland. We haven't even sold it yet. You guys are really the kind of the first people to see it. Yeah, kind of fun, right?
Exciting. We love a sneak peek. Eduardo,
I know. I wish you guys could taste it.
You want to chime in on that? Oh. No. We can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I mean, not much more than kind of what Hamilton already said. It is very much new to Maryland. It's really an homage to the heritage within Belvedere and the style of how sort of the spirit was made hundreds of years ago. So it's really a very ancient way of bringing back what Belvedere used to do and how it used to be made. And yeah, it's still very much new. So you are getting a sneak peek and you should be seeing it relatively soon, but wish you could taste it because it does taste great.
Yeah.
So soon enough.
I hope so.
So what makes it different again? Is it that it's 2% that's not rye?
No, it's 2% that's malted rye. So they actually they put it on a big imagine like a kind of a brass floor that you can heat from underneath with fire. So that's how they heat up the grain, and with lots of water too. And they're running it through its evolutionary process. It starts to sprout and malt, and when it does that, it builds its sugars up. So what you actually end up with is kind of pre-vodka and vodka mixed together. If that makes a little more sense. But they only put in 2% of that because it is powerful. I mean, when you start malting something versus that clean, crisp, kind of spicy flavor that you normally get from Belvedere, you're going to really drastically change the profile, and just a small amount makes a big difference. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Hamilton, as we're finishing up, do you want me to pull up the message from Pauline for the group?
Yeah. Boy, if you could, that'd be great. We were just talking about it.
Okay.
That's a nice way to end on a little Mother's Day note. Thanks. For those mothers who are out there, or for those who have mothers, make sure you call. Thank you for everything you guys do. I know that my life around here only works because of the mom that's in this house. So I super appreciate you guys, and hope that you get to spend, at the very least, some phone time with your loved ones this crazy Mother's Day. No. Any other questions while we're waiting for Megan? All right.
I'm going to try this. I've never tried to play a video on Zoom. Let's see. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Right.
Looks good. Thanks, Meeks. Oh, I don't know if I can hear it.
Yeah, there's no sound.
Oh.
You have to turn your speaker on.
I've turned my what on?
Speaker.
Oh, here, let me take off my.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Try
ma'am.
one more time.
Good to go.
All right. There we go.
Hello, this is Pauline. I'm the winemaker from Chandon, California. I'm here with my partner, And on behalf of the whole Chandon family, we just wanted to wish you a very happy Mother's Day. We recognize it's a very special year, but we wanted to make sure you were able to connect with your loved one and hopefully share some great sparkling wine. So please take care and cheers. Bye-bye.
So that's I think a really nice way to end. So cheers. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Melissa and Megan and Eduardo and everybody. It's just nice to see some friendly faces, even if it is on my little phone. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms.
Happy Mother's Day.